What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and it's Week 18, final preview prediction video, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. Man, I'm praying that this is not the final prediction video that I get to do this season, especially with that start to the season. And now to think that our season is on the line Week 18 against the New York Jets. This can't be it. We've been through too much. This cannot be it, Dolphins fans. But I got a lot to get through today. But before I do, I'm going to get to my final score prediction at the end of this one as well. But I want to hear from you. Drop your final score predictions. How do you think the game's going to turn out? Drop those in the comments below. Let's carry on that conversation leading up to game time. But like I said, we got a lot to get to. So let's start right away with everything that's been going on with that Bills-Bengals game, how that impacts the playoffs. And this should be quick because guess what? It doesn't really impact us whatsoever. It impacts stuff down the line for those teams that are involved in everything in regards to home field advantage. Nothing changed for us. We still need a Week 18 win at home against the Jets. We need the Bills to beat the Patriots. Now, if you're looking at this from what Vegas thinks, the gambling perspective, Vegas has us as 3-point favorites. So obviously a close one. In most cases, the home team gets about 3 points. So they're thinking that's going to be about a 50-50 game. And the Buffalo Bills are favored by 7.5. So Vegas is obviously thinking that they're still playing to win that one. Obviously favored to win. They're playing to win, and we're praying that they win. So come on, Buffalo. We're all Bills fans this week. I'm going to take a quick drink before I talk about this next topic. Because as you know by now, Dolphins fans, it's Week 18. A spot in the playoffs is on the line. We got a beatable opponent at home. Enter Skylar Thompson. I'm a Tua guy. If you've been listening to Fins Up Network in the past, you know that. So this one pains me. I said it in last week's video, I'd love nothing more for Tua to be our guy for this, to have him be the one that really pushes us into the playoffs, pushes us to the next level. You don't always get what you want. However, we're starting Skylar. Let's not get outdone by the Jets. They make the announcement on Friday that it's going to be Joe Flacco starting for him. Now, I will say that the good news around Skylar Thompson is that this isn't just coming out of left field. They said on Monday, not factoring Tua into any of the game plans. They were prepping Teddy to start if he could because of the pinky. Obviously, he can't, so he'll probably operate as QB2, but also prepping Skylar to start because of that pinky injury to Teddy Bridgewater. So we've got Skylar that's been prepped all week, getting run with the first team reps, and he does have the start from earlier in the season as well. If you remember, he did start against the Vikings. He did look good in that game before getting, obviously, Bridgewater came over and posted really good numbers in that one. But I said that was the good news. There is bad news as well, and that is that we are still not healthy. We are still not quality in that offensive line protection, and it's mainly what I'm talking about is on the left side of that line because Mike McDaniel, you saw the final injury report on Friday. Terron Armstead is listed as doubtful, and McDaniel made it sound like they're going to try to let him go up to game time. They're going to try to push it. But when you're listed as doubtful and when you've got a toe, a hip, and a knee, that's a lot to overcome. So even if he were to play, he's not even close to 100%. Now, I was talking about the left guard or the left side in general. Well, that's because Liam Eichenberg is over there. And he was back last week, and he even admitted there was a lot of rust there last week as well. So we need to get him figured out. Hopefully he kicked that rust off right away because that left side of the offensive line against the New York Jets defense, who is still pretty damn good. You know Robert Saleh is going to have those guys up and try to spoil it. We're going to need that left side of the line in order to come away with a much-needed victory in this one. But look at what's behind Terron Armstead right now because Kendall Lamb is listed as doubtful, likely not going to play. We put Eric Fisher on IR earlier this year. Hopefully we kept the receipt. Do we get a refund? Do we get a money back on that one? That's not didn't play a single snap for us and ended up probably just too rusty. We're talking a lot about rust here. Just tried to get back into it and something with his leg. I forgot exactly what it was now. So what does that leave you? It leaves you Greg Little. Probably leaves you Greg Little at left tackle if Terron Armstead can't go. And they did get awarded Jaron Christian, who was off waivers from the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs activated Mecole Hardman from their IR, had to make a roster move. So we do have him. But regardless, we're talking about a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience, got waived for a reason, and has been here for a limited of time. So right now, offensive line, is not strong, but we're going to need to have to get that thing figured out against this Jets defense. I guess there is a good second piece of good news here as well when it comes to injuries, because Mike McDaniel said that both Xavier Howard and Bradley Chubb listed as questionable, but sounded very optimistic that they'd be able to give it a go this week, which could be clutch because we need every reinforcement that's possible in the secondary right now. Because you know what happens when we continue to roll out Keon Croston and Justin Bethel and Noah Igbenogany? It seems like they can hold up for a little while. We get good plays here and there, but at the end of the day, reserves are reserves for a reason. It comes back to bite us. We had the Keon Croston pass interference. Huge call in last week's game. It wasn't a bad call. It was just a bad play by Keon Crosson, and it happens. He's a special teams guy. We brought him in to be a special teams guy. So we need all the reinforcements that we can possibly get in the secondary right now. And I'm here to say that the return of Bradley Chubb could truly be felt this week, because we just talked about our left side of the offensive line being banged up. Well, the Jets offensive line is super banged up heading into this one as well. Dwayne Brown, George Fant, Nate Herbig, all have been ruled out from the Jets offensive line. So it's time to turn up Jaylen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Melvin Ingram, Andrew Van Ginkel. Turn them loose this week. You got to get pressure on Flacco. We'll talk about that more in a second here as well. But I do want to take a second. I want to flash back to the week 5 matchup versus the Jets, because despite that game finishing 40-17, it was much, much closer than that. So we attempted a go-ahead field goal with 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Had we have made that, we'd be up 20-19. You know what happened? We missed a field goal. The Jets drive a short field. They score a touchdown. So now we're down 26-17. We start the next drive with a false start penalty. So it's 1st and 15. Skylar Thompson gets sacked, fumbles, balls returned to the 5-yard line. The New York Jets score on the very next play. So we went from attempting a go-ahead field goal to being down 33-17 in a 2-minute span. That game was much closer than the score is putting, but I'm just showing you how quickly a game like this can turn. We can't have it again. But look at some of the numbers from that game. Skylar Thompson in relief of Teddy Bridgewater. Obviously, you know that one. Teddy got pulled after the first play. The independent concussion specialist spotter pulled Teddy Bridgewater. Skylar gets thrown into the mix. He only threw for 166 yards, but we ran the ball 26 times that game for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 5.3 yards per carry. Now, why I say that, it's because it's going to be interesting to see if we can duplicate that type of success on the ground game with the unknown right now that's on the left side of our offensive line. But if you think back to that game with the earlier of the week, the week 5 game, the Jets had to have been prepared for the Dolphins run game in that game, because they knew that Teddy Bridgewater was starting. They knew it wasn't going to be Tua. They know it wasn't going to be this high-flying offense, and we found success then. So I'm not completely ruling it out this week either. But wrapping up some talk about that last game before we move on here, like I said, we didn't do much through the air. Skylar threw a pick to Sauce Gardner in that game. Jaylen Waddle, Tyreek Hill combined for 10 catches for 70 yards, no touchdowns. But man, the Jets didn't pass for a shit in that game either. And granted, it's a new quarterback this time around. It was Zach Wilson the last time. But 100 of Zach Wilson's 210 passing yards, I'm no math major, but that's damn near half of his passing yards, came from Breece Hall. And guess what? We don't have to worry about Breece Hall this week. He's on IR. He won't be there. But the trio of Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis only combined for 6 catches for 76 yards. So we were fine in the secondary. We had a nice game in the secondary that week. Helps that we played against Zach Wilson. Won't lie there. The issue defensively was stopping the Jets' ground game. But also, it was mainly Breece Hall in that one. And I would say that since that game, we've improved pretty damn drastically against the run. And if you look at Hall, like I said, 18 for 97, 1 touchdown on the ground. The rest of the team, 15 carries, 38 yards. Once again, math majors, that's 2 point something per carry. So we can live with that. But they did score all of their touchdowns on the ground. If you remember that, they had 5. It was a combination of Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Braxton Berrios, and Zach Wilson ran one in as well. But like I said, biggest difference right now, no Breece Hall. Enter Zonovan Knight, who hasn't been awesome, but he's found moderate success here and there. So someone to keep an eye on. It's been a weird week with recording this week, but I did have a question that came in. Sorry for the late notice and getting the opportunity to submit questions, but I do want to answer this one since I have it. It's how is Tua still in the early stages of concussion protocol? Great question. I'd like to talk about this. So I'm no expert in concussion protocol by any means, but yes, it seems kind of alarming that Tua is still in those early stages of protocol. Obviously, didn't even see the practice field this week, but I do believe that the NFL, the concussion protocol, is a bit more stingy when it's like a second or third or a multiple concussion in that season versus your first documented concussion of the season. So yeah, I mean, who obviously at this point in time, who even knows if Tua would be ready for a potential wild card playoff matchup? It'd be either against the Bills or the Chiefs. So because if we made it in, obviously it would be we'd be the 7 seed, we'd be playing the 2 seed, so we'd be playing the Chiefs or the Bills. But man, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We don't really we don't have much say in the matter at this point in time. Too early to speculate on this, so we'll have to just see how that one plays out. But like I said, hopefully this is not the last time I'm giving a prediction, Dolphins fans. And if it comes true, it won't be, because yes, this is it. Obviously, it's do or die. And even if we even if we do, we still may die since we didn't handle business when we could have controlled our own playoff fate. And now we're relying on the Bills to help us. But I do want to take a quick trip back in time to my 2022 season prediction video. Guys, check this out for a second. Just went through. It's not going to be easy. I think we're going to see a season where it probably comes down to the last week. Like, we are going to be on the edge of our seats the entire ride. And here we are. And no, in that video, I think I predicted us having like 11 wins. We don't have as many wins as I predicted in that video. But man, that week 18 thing sure seemed to turn out and end up being important. But you know what? I think we get it done in this game, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't mainly because of who we're playing. Look at the Jets. They're out of playoff contention now. Also starting a backup quarterback, numerous guys out on the offensive line. These teams, the Dolphins and Jets, with everything that's gone on, they're 0-10 combined in their last 10 games. They are meant for each other this week. As Dolphins fans, we're excited. We have a chance to make the playoffs. It's being excited to watch a train wreck almost at this point. I should have a better analogy prepared for that. But man, I'm excited for what's probably going to be a bad game. But I think we truly got to hope for a few things in order to pull this one out. One, hopefully we can establish a run game, be able to fall back on that, especially with starting a third string quarterback, a rookie 7th round draft pick, third string quarterback. Established running game, being able to fall back on that could be key. We absolutely, like I said, get back to pressuring Flacco. Number 2, we absolutely need to pressure Joe Flacco. Force him into early decisions, force a turnover or two. Those could be huge, but regardless, taking advantage of the Jets' injured offensive line, taking advantage of a fairly immobile Joe Flacco could be huge in this game. And 3, we've been saying it all season, we can't beat ourselves. We're talking about untimely penalties. We're talking about potential special teams mishaps. Don't mess up the little things this week. And I think we can be fine. And it feels weird saying that on a 5-game losing streak. And there, I didn't even get a chance to do this week's Keys to Victory video, but I just gave you a nice little condensed version there. But honestly, I think if we can do those things, I think we might have just enough in the tank to get it done. And like I said, it won't be easy. It won't be pretty, but given our current situation, week 18, playoffs on the line, needing help right now from the Bills, take it however we can. Get the win, get help from the Bills, and it's a 1-game season the rest of the way, Dolphins fans. But that is what I got in regards to what hopefully is not my final prediction video of the year, but I do want to hear from you as well. So drop those final score predictions in the comments. Like I said, let's carry on the conversation there. Enjoy the game, Dolphins fans. Could be the last one of the season. Hopefully it's not, but we'll see. I'll be back following the game. As always, recap, takeaways. And until then, cheers and fins up.